We've been involved in prison outreach for many, many years. I was thinking this morning, um, I started helping to write a newsletter that we sent to prisons, I think back in 1999 when I was still in Seattle. So, really a long time. And it's been such a rich experience. I've learned so much. And Vinabha Damsha was talking this morning about a volunteer who helps with the website, was telling her that her daughter was in training to be a guard, a prison guard at Oklahoma State Penitentiary, which is a very um, uh, difficult place. It's a maximum security prison. And so and we've written to people there before. And so I looked on the web a little bit to see about the history of that place, and it was quite interesting. It's in McAlester, Oklahoma, and it's called Big Mac. They have about 850 inmates there, most of whom are maximum security inmates. And 80% of all of those incarcerated are serving life sentences. And from 1915 to 2022, 200 men and women have been executed there. So it's a very harsh environment, I would say. And when it first started out, they had men and women in that penitentiary, which is interesting. That was surprising. This prison opened in 1908. And before 1907, felons convicted in Oklahoma were sent to Kansas State Penitentiary because Oklahoma was still a territory. It wasn't a state yet, and so that was the closest place. Then in 1918, when Oklahoma became a state, a woman named Kate Barnard became Oklahoma Commissioner of Charities and Corrections. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but anyhow. But she was a force, this woman. She arrived unannounced at the Kansas prison to investigate widespread complaints about mistreatment of Oklahoma inmates. She discovered systematic, widespread torture of inmates. And so she got the governor of Oklahoma to move the inmates to Oklahoma, and hence the Oklahoma State Prison was built to accommodate them. She was quite a reformer. She even housed released inmates at her farm until they could get up on their feet again. The incarcerated first were forced to work in mines, but she banned that work and had a shoe factory built so that they could work in that instead. So we can see from just this story that the employees who work in prisons have such a huge impact on the lives of those who are incarcerated. And this just reminded me of my experience that I've had with, and some of us have had, with the former chaplain of Airway Heights correctional facility that we visit a lot. Right now, Venerable Nawang and myself go there twice a month, and we teach people how to meditate and a little bit about Buddhism. And Chaplain Lucci, who was there for many, many years, he also was a force. This man was extraordinary. He treated everybody with such love and compassion. The guards, all of the incarcerated, he never acted differently between any of them. And one of the guards told me that once he came, that the lockdowns that they would have because of violence and fights, etc., they kind of really got very rare and pretty much stopped. And he thought it was because of the impact that Chaplain Lucci had on that facility. And just being around him, you could feel that. He told me one time that every night when he would go home, he would pray for all of the inmates and all of the correctional officers there. And you know he was doing that for sure. So he really turned that place around just by his compassion and his altruism and equanimity, that was there all the time. And so the benefit one person has on many people due to compassion and altruism is something that we need to remember, especially when we're involved in something that seems difficult, or we're just one person or whatever, that we have to remember the power of compassion. There's nothing more powerful in this world than that. So much more powerful than anger and all of the other petty afflictions that we have. And when people have that kind of heart open, we can do extraordinary things. And people respond to that because, we're all the same. We all want happiness. None of us want to suffer. And because of that, we can always find something to connect with another person. Everybody is, interested in something or connected with something. And if we just have an open heart, we can figure out how to connect with them. And then, then we're changing people's experience and our own too. So we can always reach out and connect. Even people that we think that are so different than us, we can always find a common something to connect with them. And so let's keep that in mind as we walk through our days, and we do this for the benefit of all.